All right, let me just. Welcome to our weekly New Gambia platform talk show. Today is September 18, 2022. Today we're gonna be talking about the youth's future in the Gambia. And also we're gonna talk about President Barrow's address to the National Assembly, the State of the Nation. I have my partners here, Sam Cisse from Indiana. Sam, welcome. And Alas from Germany. Alas, welcome. I'm your host here, Momodu, New York. So Alas, jumping onto the first agenda here, or the first topic, we're talking about youth, their future in the Gambia. Can you just, lead us to this?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sawane. Hello, Sam, and the audience. Yeah, with this topic, I think we talked about youth the last time, but not this topic. It's mainly about the youths. We get the information that there are a lot of youths in Mile 2, I don't know, with small crimes and nobody cares, and they are still there. And I wish that their problems are being cleared, whether they are going to be punished or to release them as soon as possible. Because as I said, every day in one youth's life is very precious. So smoking jamba or stealing a small thing and to be kept in Mile 2 for years is too much for a youth, because they are wasting a lot of years, time from their lives, which is very precious, because that's the time either they go to school or learning something. So if you keep them for a long time, that means releasing them, you're releasing also a criminal again, because this person missed everything to learn. And I don't know how our rehabilitation is in that place, because normally it's a place of correction, so the people who did something mistakenly knows that they should not do it again, and then that's how they come out again and join the society again. When we talk about the youths, Gambian youths are very talented. You can see it from the football team. They could go too far, and that is the point what I wanted to comment on. When youths do it good, we celebrate. When they do it bad, we isolate them. You understand? So in this case, we have to be fair. We have to give them chance, and people who do wrong should be corrected. But let them help them by clearing their cases, not just filing that somewhere nobody cares and years are going. Sometimes they even forget what they did to come there, because it takes time. As far as it's not something very, very, very severe, I think catching them smoking jamba or stealing a cup of soda, some things like that, we call it small crimes. They are still crimes according to law. But to give them this opportunity or the chance to face the court or the judge whatsoever, with the police one, and so that it will be cleared immediately. So the judge can say, okay, you go for 10 years, then it's okay. But sometimes it's just because of a small thing, tiny thing, where the judge will maybe say, you can go home, because we have to respect the time of the youth. That is very, very, very important. We should also try to be happy for the contribution of the youth in the society. especially in the national development. We need them, and they are the future. Every country respects the youth because they are the future of the country. They are the presidents of the country. They are the ministers of the country in the future. So we have to respect them, give them the chance. The bad ones can also be made good, and sometimes we have to ask ourselves, because I know that our youths are victims. We have to ask ourselves what went wrong that the good youths even try to be a criminal. They don't choose to be. So here is what we have to look in the eyes, if it is something to correct, we ourselves to correct that, or the government to correct that. Because you cannot say that they should not leave the country, they should not go to back way, and most of them are being deported. So all these youths, you have to give them the chance, the opportunity to move. I heard that they are doing a lot of development projects for the youths, a lot of aid also from the European and other societies, investing a lot of money. Normally, our youth should be the best used. If you hear how much is gone, is donated for the development of the youth, it's too much. So normally we should not have any youth standing on the street, But when that's the case, or they make groups and smoking their jammers and so on, and have no activity, we have to ask ourselves what's going on. Are the monies not going to the right people, or are they being misused again? That the youths don't even see it, because there is coming a lot of millions. But when you ask, they'll tell you, oh, yeah, 140 people went here and there. And even after those trainings, if you don't give them any tool, any capital to start their own thing, it's just a waste of money. It's good they'll have that knowledge, but they cannot start anything with it. So you have to plan it, not only the training, but after the training too. We have to give them the chance because they are the future. In the future, I would advise that the Gambia government should also try to contribute also for them. I heard that they are doing a lot, but how far, I don't know. Normally, when I hear the millions and millions and millions, and we should have got a lot of centers like GTTI, maybe throughout the country, every city should have one. You understand? But we can only talk of one place for science and technology. That is GTTI. That is too sad. That is too sad. We should not be better than none, but it's too small for the amount of aid we used to have for the youths.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when we talk about criminals, I have to say that I said it here once. I cannot just see a youth smoking his jamba. I just handcuff him, take him to mile 2, and this person is there. Maybe it's now 3 years, no trial. Just imagine, So these are 3 gone years for this person without learning, without being an apprentice or anything, And such people cannot even help in the development of the country, And we should be happy to have any action or somebody who try to give what he has in the development of the country, for the country to go forward. But when you keep them in mind too, they cannot help in the national development. That is one. So it should be the government's interest even to look who are the intelligent people sitting there with very low crimes and try to take them out in the society so that they can help also in the national development. because you can get somebody smoking his jamba there because he's frustrated or something like that. Doesn't mean that maybe that individual is stupid. You can try them sometimes. You can be very intelligent.
Exactly.
They are doing that because of frustration, because there is no future, and youths are generally not given any chance, even if they have PhDs. The road is blocked. That's just that's the glass ceiling. We have to not only train, but we also have to give the chances and opportunities after training. To know, even if you are the investor, if you see them after they have their own company, they are employing people, you, the investor, will be very happy to see that, because that's the reason why you took out your money. You took the money out, not just to train and then after sitting in the streets, drinking attire because there is nothing to do or no opportunity. This, on the other hand, waste of money. We have a lot of graduates. They cannot do nothing in the Gambia. Why? Because we prepare anything for them. They can have PhD. They're still looking for a job. After so many years, they get frustrated.
Exactly.
And the government is the only biggest employee and cannot employ everybody. And every year, how many people are pouring from the university? How many people are, being sent back from Europe? How many people are, and all these people need to do something when they come.
Exactly.
There is where the government should be prepared for, because giving money out for such, it's nice to train everybody, but after you have to give them something that they can use their knowledge for the development, for the national development. Then you will see, okay, I invested something in somewhere. You will be even happy and proud because you know where your money went. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about the youths today. So maybe you have something to contribute in Sawane. But
Yes,
it's
thank
very
you so much.
important. Yeah, it's very important that we try to look and give them the chance. If at all they did only low crimes, small crimes. That is different from severe crimes. Those people, they should face the judge. There is no doubt. It's for the interest of the national security. But there are crimes, you cannot just, mistakes happen, especially the youths when they are frustrated. There is no chance. One should also understand sometimes when they act or react another way, or they try to steal something from your pocket also. Maybe that person is just frustrated. Some even steal. They don't know why they steal because it's just a frustration they're trying to show somehow in their character. So we should try to understand such people, but that doesn't mean that we keep them for 10 years without trial, without nothing. We are just wasting their time, and we don't have anything out of it for the national development. And when we come here to talk about criminality, who is the criminal in the Gambia? Sometimes I think we don't even know who is criminal. We only know the criminal is maybe the person smoking his jamba, because that's where people come and handcuff you, take you to mile 2. But the real criminals, they're working there, and everybody is saying hello, sir, to them. Everybody is saluting them there.
Right.
So here you ask yourself, do we understand what is criminal and what is not criminal?
Exactly.
Because if I should take a child with a jamba 3 years, so what should I do with other people doing worse than that? But they're walking free in the Gambia. They are saluted everywhere. They get red tapees everywhere they go. So the question is, do we understand who is criminal and what is criminal? I think that topic we have to try to look through.
You mean do we differentiate what are considered being a criminal act and what are considered to be criminal act?
Normally in the law is there, is written, but we do it as how much money you have. If you have a lot of money, you can do the worst thing. It's not criminal. You understand?
Oh,
Yeah.
But if you are a poor guy, you just steal, say, a small tomato, you are a criminal. You go for 10 years.
Yeah, it depends on who makes the rules, right? That's what you're trying to say.
The rules are there for everybody, every national.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have our own rules, psychological rules, and things what we don't want to see, we don't want to see.
Yeah.
And that is that's our problem.
Oh, okay.
We always go according to what we favor, not the law.
I think Sam has.
The laws are there, but we are not fair to ourselves.
Yep.
That's-
It all comes down to, I didn't mean to cut you, Alice, but thank you for your time and thank you for bringing this up and really getting into the details here. It is sad. It is definitely sad to see the young youths, our young guys, and sitting in that Mile 2 prison for a small bag of weed that they were caught with. When someone brought a container full of thousands of cocaine into the country, and we
or
still
worse
don't
than that,
know.
or worse than that.
Yeah,
And
exactly. So worse than
they'll be
that.
celebrated.
So that's where we are, and it all boils down to, one of the things that I said in some time ago, and I've said this before. Our government need to be able to hold people. The laws are there for everyone. Laws are there to protect people. Laws are for everyone, and everyone need to be treated equally because the law is there to treat everyone equally. So if the law is there, now who are the law enforcement? Law enforcement officers. So that's where we point a finger at the government. Now, are your agencies doing the right thing? Are they doing their job? Because the way I look at this, it is very sad to see young kids, sitting in prison. Their future has been damaged. Their future has been really impacted big time, because instead of sitting in Mile 2, they could be sitting in a classroom. Instead of sitting in Mile 2, they could be sitting in a college, or they could be sitting in a GTTI, studying something, getting into some kind of technical field that will help their future. So it's the same way. The way I look at this is, if you have your groundnut farm in the woods, you have your groundnut farm, okay, and you have pigs and monkeys are coming to destroy your farm. They're coming and digging big holes and getting all your groundnuts out, and what they drop on their way out, the squirrels are going in there to pick those little things, and you go to your farm and start chasing the squirrels. Well, the squirrels are not a problem. They are eating after what the big guys drop, which is the pigs. So why go after the squirrels? You're killing the squirrels and damaging their future. So instead, if you can go after the pigs and stop them from destroying your farm and dropping anything out, well, the squirrels are not going to have anything to eat. It's the same way I look at this. So if we can go after the big drug dealers and drug traffickers and stop them from bringing drugs into our country, well, guess what? The youths are not going to have anything to buy. They're not going to have anything to buy. So I know drug trafficking and drug usage is all over the world. Gambia is just such a small country. We should have better control compared to the United States of America, right? Compared to Germany, compared to France, compared to all the other countries in the world. So Gambia is such a small country. If we have the right people in the right position and really fight corruption and get, and get that under control, we should be able to control drug trafficking in our country.
But Sam, here I can just say something. I praise our security. They did a good job.
Yes.
Only the thing is, after they catch these people, the bosses will go and talk to Barrow or the chief of inspector, or how to call it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
After
why.
you will not hear anything anymore.
Yeah, that's why I said corruption. I said corruption in there for that reason, because corruption is behind the scene. The drug enforcement officers are doing their part, catching the big drugs. And once they catch them, corruption takes place. And how that takes place is, you know,
Right, right.
the top, their seniors, their bosses are corrupt.
They'll
They
come with
are
new
given
laws.
bribes to really put their foot on this. They bribe them to do that. So, and this is why I mentioned the word corruption in there. If we can stop corruption, because if we really stop the corruption there and strictly enforce laws, when drug traffickers burst a drug deal, they really need to take it to the next level. You need to go to the next level, prosecute, arrest them, prosecute them, and let them face justice. If the law sentenced them to 25 years in prison, that's what they deserve, because Gambian youths don't deserve all of that drug in our country for them to use. It's destroying them. It's killing them. All right. It's destroying their future.
No,
So that's why I mentioned the word corruption in there, because I was getting to that. Corruption is the big key in there. And that's why I said again, the government need to enforce. The government need to do their part. Have the drug enforcement officers, whether they're doing their job or not, when they catch someone, that person need to be prosecuted. They need to be arrested and prosecuted. There should not be, there's no if and buts there. They just face justice and learn their fate in the court system. That's what needs to happen. If we can catch the big fish and the big guys, the big destroyers, and stop them from trafficking or bringing drugs into our country, then the youths are not going to have anything.
but that's where we have the problem, because the biggest guys, when they come in the Gambia, because Gambians, we suffer from this psychology.
I understand
people
that.
from outside,
Yeah.
they are very important people. Sometimes you even have here European who are sleeping on the street. When they come to the hotels there, every Gambian think that
they have money.
They are something,
Yeah.
because we, and start to say yes, sir, to such people.
Yeah.
This complex, I mean, Gambians should be awake and know that the biggest criminal can be having a lot of money, can drive the most expensive car, can buy the biggest mountain. Why? Because he's a criminal.
Yep.
So why should they put such a respect to such criminals just because he's having a very expensive car?
To the general public,
to the general psychology.
Public, yeah. You're right. To the general public, sometimes they just don't know. They know that so and so is working at so and so place.
Yeah,
they know they are working, and they're getting richer and richer and richer. The poor are getting poorer and poorer and getting more difficulty to even survive, get a good cost of living. So, but how they get their money, they don't know. Gambians, the majority of the people don't.
That's it. They don't know.
Some will suspect. No, when I say how they get their money, there are different ways of getting money. We know that a lot of government officials in there, we know what their salary is. We know that they don't make a whole lot of money. They can't even afford to build a big self-contained building. They can't afford it. Their salary can't give them that. If you put their per diem on it, yeah, maybe they can have a little bit here and there, but nothing out of that. So anyone that works for the government that is not involved in any criminal activity really should not be able to build a story building. They're not able to build a big self-contained building for them and their family, and living luxury life with very nice cars and new cars and things like that. We know they are into something. They are dealing something somewhere. What they are dealing exactly is what people don't know, but people know that, would suspect that their hands are into something, right? So this is where I mentioned the corruption. It's all part of corruption. Corruption is killing our country, and we need to stop that corruption. That is what's killing us. If we can kill the corruption and be consistently treating everyone the same way, and the government hold that, like I said, I always say, when it comes to consistency in corruption, it starts from the top. The president and the people below him need to hold themselves accountable first. before they look at the people below them. And that's what needs to happen, and really be able to cut that corruption out there. If we can get Gambia to be corruption free, which is not going to be easy and is not something that can happen overnight, but if we can get to that, I think it will solve a lot of our problems in Gambia, because these drug dealers, they have inside job people with inside jobs. They have people that they work with inside. Even if they get caught, when they get caught, well, they will use some of the drug money that they stole in Senegal.
Nothing come out of it,
Yeah,
because they know the
nothing
weak
comes out.
point. They know the weak point of
Right.
the
Yeah.
poor people,
Yeah.
the poor
So-
officers.
Yep. So they
Yeah.
use the drug money to
They
bribe.
use their money to open
Yeah,
the doors.
They use
and,
the drug money to bribe senior officials so that that case can go dead. Nothing happens and you don't hear anything about it. But if the government don't allow that and really say the president says, I want them arrested, I want them prosecuted, no one can bypass that. That has to happen. Prosecute them and put them in prison. And then the drug that they have, openly invite the media and go and really go burn it all down, and put it on and exactly make sure that it's the same amount. Do not let anybody to tamper with it and take some out and go sell it on the side. No, if you capture, let's say,
and
200 bags of cocaine.
Before burning, you have to test it. Not that it's just flour after.
Right. No, I know. Yeah, you have to do all that. Yeah, they have to do their due diligence, because it's the drug enforcement officers that will catch that. They will catch it and test it to make sure it's drugs, right? Once they do that, if they, for example, catch 200 bags of cocaine, they need to, that's what's going to be on social media. That's what's going to be in the news. And they need to make sure that the day they're burning it is the same 200 bags, not 198 bags, not 150. It should be the same 200 bags that they allow the media to verify and tell the Gambian people, this is what was caught from so-and-so drug deal. And here we go. We're going to burn it all down. And they burn it with witnesses there. If that starts happening while the owner of that drugs are all in incarceration, then we will solve the problem. But until then, they just going after, like I said, they're going after the squirrels that are not really doing a whole lot of damage, while they let the monkeys and the pigs that destroy your farm go away. So that's what
that is very sad.
So-
And
so-
the poor youths cannot do that. They cannot bribe either. So it's not fair at all.
Yeah. So that being said, I think you guys really brought up very important points here about who's supposed to be the target, because the youth are the end product of the operation. The actual operation starts from the top, or is concealed from the top. If you look at the Bantakeda case, I think we still don't know where that man is. And then we actually, I don't know about you guys, but I think I got lost out of, how the case is going with all those drugs that came in.
Yeah, it's like that. So that one day you will forget about it.
Yeah, the big cases go silent. All the big cases go silent. They go months and months and months, then it goes into years and years. Nobody hears anything about it.
Yeah. So anytime the bigger, like you say, bigger fish. You say, Sam, you're talking about, the baboons and bigger ones, I'm talking about big fish. Anytime the big fish swallows, nobody, sees the little fish anymore. So the fact of the matter is, this is true. When I saw them, burning marijuana, in front of people to try to show that they are fighting against these drugs. What happened to the big drugs? Actually, we want to see them burning those, the cocaines, the heroines, all the crazy ones that we're missing. We want to see those being burned, but we want to burn marijuana. I mean, come on. I mean, just to show the public that we are fighting, drugs. So I think, if you look at this carefully, and you guys have mentioned this, corruption has something to do with it. Once, the big folks can see that there's a potential, especially financial potential, things go down under the carpet. Nobody hears anything about it anymore. And the little guys on the street corners who are trying to make a living, because of our own problems on unemployment, because of our own, lack of, lack of leadership, lack of,
Future. They don't have future
lack of
and hopes.
creativity, lack of everything. These young people on the street become victims of trying to make something happen for them. So in that process, you're gonna catch them and throw them to jail for small crimes. Yes, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be disciplined for small crimes. We need to fight crimes, but the fact of the matter is, let's start from the bigger ones. Let's leave no stone unturned. Let's make sure that we apply it across the board. Let's prosecute it across the board. I think those are the words that are more important in this case. But having to fight the remnants, the lower folks whose impact wouldn't be that great, who are the end products, it's kind of like fighting a war from the bottom, or where the war supposed to be fight from the top. So I agree with you guys on your points that you just mentioned. I think our judicial system need to belt up. They need to look into this case and don't let them slide.
I mean, we are not here encouraging any criminality or anything, but
no.
we just want to take the law for everybody. Everybody.
Every crime is important. Well, what we are saying here is that let's fight it across the board, and let's make sure that the bigger people involved are also prosecuted. Let's shed the light on areas that are important, because before it gets to the smaller guys, it started with the big transactions. Big.
The small ones are victims of the big ones.
So youths don't have the potential. They're just trying to make livings. And if there are, I'm pretty sure if there are other opportunities, they will get into that, unless they, you say that they're lazy and they don't want to really work. But the fact of the matter is, I agree with you guys. So what do you guys think? And Alice and Sam, you guys can answer this question. What do you think our National Assembly, our lawmakers should do to make sure that, this young, this kind of system is, at least mitigated, or is kind of eradicated, instead of going after the small folks and, punishing them? Why not we start from the top and making sure that anything that comes to light, or that smells like coffee in the criminal justice system, is challenged, and make sure that it's accounted for. Like Bandaketa's problem situation, it needs to be on top of it. You need to find to the bottom of it. What happened to those drugs, and where did it go, and who are involved? So what do you think our National Assembly could do in this case? And the second question is, what do we tell our youths, in this time of situation where they become victimized, catching, small things, although it's not good. I mean, any form of drugs is not good. I must make that clear.
No, we should not encourage it.
But we shouldn't encourage it. But what can the youth do so that they will not be, in this situation? They will not be victimized. So these two questions, Sam, and I'll ask you guys can take one.
I can come in.
Okay, Sam, come in.
Well, first, when it comes to the National Assembly, the National Assembly, or I would say the previous National Assemblies, already have the laws. We have the laws out there already. So the laws are not being followed to the T, to the N, meaning all the way to prosecution and imprisonment of people that are involved in these illegal drug trafficking. So what can the National Assembly do? Really is to hold the government accountable. That's part of their job. Hold the government accountable. National Assembly can call the government and the Minister of Interior, who houses all of those security personnel, including drug enforcement officers, and have them come and testify in front of the National Assembly. Put it on video. Let GRTS go in there and put it in, on live television, so Gambian people can see the National Assembly members doing their job, by asking the Minister of Interior and the Director of Drug Enforcement Officers, where are these drugs? What happened to the people that you confiscate? We want to know, who are these people? Where are they? And where's the drug? You know, what is the status of that case? Did you prosecute? Did you file for prosecution for this person? Where is it now? These are the things that the National Assembly can do to let the government people know they're doing their job by holding the government accountable. That's one. The other part is for the youths. Well, even though we are saying they should go after the big fish, they should go after the big guys, the big traffickers. With the youths also using drugs, we can't just say that they should be forgiven, because two wrongs do not make a right. All right. So they need to face the consequence. They need to know that using drugs is illegal. It's not allowed. It's destroying your life. You need to get out of this, unless it's medically prescribed for you to use weed and smoke that because it's medically helping you with the type of illness you have. Unless that happens, they should not be using it, period. So they need to face their consequences. But at the same time, we cannot let them.
If it is our law, then
exactly. We cannot let them sit in prison while the ones that actually brought the drug into the country are free. They're roaming in the streets. They're going and building and driving new cars in the country.
And they brought it there that the youths use it so that they can keep the youths in mind too.
Exactly. So those are things that really shouldn't happen. So that's kind of like my take on that. Drug usage is or drug business, drug trafficking is not allowed. It's against the law. It's against the law. So it should always be against the law. Anyone caught in that activity should really face justice. They need to be arrested and prosecuted and let the judge decide their fate. That's what needs to happen. But like I said, it really needs to start from the top. If you want to kill this small user, the end user, from using it, you need to eliminate the one bringing it in the country, and also go after the person that's blocking this case from going to court. Get that person, to see how involved are they in it, and stop it. Get them arrested.
How much they receive already?
Yeah. If they get bribed, get them arrested, because that's against the law too. They should not be bribed to sit on that case. Get them arrested, put them in mile 2. That's it. So that's all I want to say on that.
All right. Okay. So Alice, if you don't have anything, we can jump.
For me, I just wanted to say, they used to say in the land of blind people, the person with the one eye is the king.
Who is the one eye here?
Let me just come. Living in a poor country, the person with money is the king.
That's the one with the one eye.
That's where I want to come. So you see, Sam, and these people, they are the kings. When they do something bad, they are immune. They have their own immunity. You understand? Which they created themselves with their criminality and their wealth or money. Because I cannot call it wealth, because it's not deserved the right way to be wealthy. It's in the Gambia like that, So such people will be called, yes sir, every corner, respected, celebrated. And normally they are very free, which you and me cannot do it, because we don't have money, or the youths don't have money. So for them, the little thing they do is a crime. It's a big crime in the Gambia. That's why I used to think maybe we don't know the difference between a small crime or a severe crime. Or we know the severe ones, but we don't want to look at it. So when we talk about the MPs, here we used to advise the youths always when they are voting what to do. We played our part. We gave them advices, whom to vote, because this person is going to represent them in the house. and they should not make any mistake. We played our part. We gave them these tips. We gave them this advice. So when they vote somebody and this person is there, let them hope that this person can also take care of their problems. Because if not, there is nobody to blame. You know, here in Germany, they used to say, if you point the finger, make sure that always remember that the other three fingers are pointing to you. So when they vote these people and they are in the house, and forget about them and their problem, you cannot blame that person sometimes. You understand? So we need to be fair here.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's very sad that people don't know how to vote and what to vote. But I think we'll come to that sometime. That's why I used to say that. As far as the Gambians don't know, I used to say that how many years here now? As far as Gambians don't know the use of their voting cards, we'll always be having problems. Problems we don't know where it comes. But where it comes is directly there in our hands, our voting cards. So unless Gambians come to that point to understand, then we'll clear all our problems.
Exactly. Thank you, Alice. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we're moving on. The second topic that we have is the President Barrow's address to the National Assembly about the State of the Union. Sam, you can lead that conversation.
Yeah, so welcome, your friend.
All right. Well. You know, I honestly did not finish watching that video, but from what I watched, and you know, it's to me, it's not what I was expecting. I'll put it that way. It's not what I was expecting. There were some good things in the speech, but you know, for a president to go address the nation, I would think that that would be something that would start somewhere. You know, things don't happen overnight. As a result, when you're delivering a speech, that deliberation should really be piling up as time goes on. And what I said about that is these are things that situations in a country, or when a president is addressing a country, should be things that really they should include the current situations in the country. And some of the current situations in the country were not addressed from what I've seen. And if you look at current situations in the country, the biggest problem we have in our country is what? Corruption. What is the government taking what is the president taking to stop corruption? So that's one. I look at that as, if it's out of the picture, then to me, I mean, we have not addressed the nation yet, because millions.
But how would a president address the nation about corruption?
Well, I mean,
that would be something that, you know, in what format would that?
Yep. So in that, here I will get to that. my way of thinking is, this is my own analysis of it.
If you are in his
my own opinion as well. You know, for a president in a presidential position, is very critical. Every president should be getting briefings from every minister. Not only that, they should have at least monthly or quarterly meetings where the president, basically it's just like when Parliament is in session, Cabinet also goes in session. In the Cabinet session behind closed doors, if I were a president, I'm thinking the way it should be. If I were the president, this is where I am going to have even if it takes 24 hours, okay, it could be a 2-day meeting, it could be 2 days, but I am going to have every single minister in my cabinet put up a PowerPoint presentation in front of everyone there in the cabinet and tell us, based on the budget that you have in your ministry, what have you done with that money? How much have you spent so far? What did you spend that money on? how much is left in that money. We need to know this, right? The projects that you sponsor in your ministry, when you say that in front of the president and everybody, and give the president status of what that project is, the president goes minister to minister. Of course, they'll put an agenda together, who's going first, who's going last, and all that stuff. Every minister presents. If they do this monthly meetings or quarterly meetings, the president will be more briefed and would be more in tune with what is happening without even looking at any single piece of paper. All right. So for a president to sit down.
So do you have a problem looking at a piece of paper?
Well, that's where I'm getting next. I said for the president to sit down and open a book and start reading everything inside that without even having eye contact with the people. All right. But just down there with the glasses on and reading every single one of them. You know,
is there any problem with the glasses on?
It's something that someone, if it's only reading is something that we can get a fifth grader. Someone in fifth grade can sit down and open that book and flip pages, page after page, and read what's on there. It's not about reading. The president should have been very well informed and very well engaged with his ministers and demand nothing but results from his ministers, just like I said, from those monthly meetings or quarterly debriefings. The president should have been well informed in all of those. So when he stands, he didn't even need to sit down. He can stand in front of that podium and face the
What is the point of sitting down? I mean, it's such an
I don't know. I mean, he's
an old man, you know.
No, he's not old.
He can sit down.
No, he can stand up, you know. But anyway, sitting and standing won't make a whole lot of difference. But from what I've seen in other world leaders, they stand up.
No, because the more you stand up and speak, the powerful your message becomes.
Exactly.
If you really have your message that you own.
Exactly. You know, I learned that from myself. You know,
it depends how old you are.
When I'm talking and I'm talking about something, for my group, for example, and Solutions for Gambia, I always stand up. I don't sit. For some reason, when I sit down, it looks like I missed some information when I'm sitting down. But when I stand up and I'm able to move around and talk, that's when it comes more into my brain. That's the way I am. But anyway, so going back to the topic, you know, if all of those briefings have been happening every month with every minister, not only the president is going to be in tune, but that will be a place the president can also see the telltale signs. What minister is not doing their job? Who is not even able to present what is happening? Who doesn't even know what they're doing with their budget? These are things that he can do coaching with them, or you know what? He can tell them, you know what? This is Gambia. We are 57 years old from independence and we're 57 years behind time. We don't have time for this. If you can't handle this, I'm going to replace you. You know, it may not have to tell them that, but those are things that the president can look at and be able to make decisions. Who is doing his job? Who is competent enough to hold that position? So that way, let's get down to the speech now. So if things like that was happening behind the scene, when the president get to the podium there and start with the minister of, start with the Ministry of Health. When he start to talk about health, there should be only bullet points of the key achievements and the key important issues, things that he has already been briefed, things that he has already gone over and over with the minister. He will already have that in his head. You know, if I sit down with you and talk about a naming ceremony or a wedding, this is what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Who is going to do what and when and all of that stuff. That's all here. So when I go to sit down or when I go to give a speech about that wedding, I have the wedding in front of me as the bullet point, and who is going to do what and when and that is all in my head. I should be able to look at the bullet point and talk about it without reading anything. That's the way I look at it. So the president can start with, let's say he starts with Ministry of Health. He should be able to say from the Ministry of Health, here are the achievements that we've done, and here are the things that we're working on for the country. And go into it without really reading. Don't read. Okay, don't read. talk and look at people, stand up and look at people. When you talk, have an eye contact with people. Just go around the room and talk. And as you're talking, you're looking at people. So people know that you know what you're talking about. It's not something what you're reading, because this, in this case, is just a matter of reading. Now, what he's reading is something that was given to him. Is it really true? Did it actually happen? I don't know. You may not know. One thing I know is there is a conflicting story here. The president said, women dying in labor, for example, I'll put it that way, it's been decreased. Well, when you look at Mbalin Cham, who is doing a great job with Women's Life Matters, she reported between September of 2020 and September 2022, 456 women died. And 344 babies died. These are key numbers that the president should already know. Yeah, he may not necessarily say died, but if he's saying he's decreasing, people need to know, what was it before? Because if you say something is decreasing, if you tell me it used to be 500, now it's 400, you can say, yeah, people will say it's decreasing, right? That is decreasing. But you didn't say what it was, but you're telling people that it's decreasing.
It's the other way around.
When there is something else out there that's very evident, and Balin Cham posts that every time. Every time a woman died out of labor and negligence, some of it, and things like that.
Sometimes they demonstrate there.
Yeah. So and the baby's dying. So that becomes conflicting. To me, that becomes conflicting. So, but anyway, going on, I think I'll wrap this up real quick. Going on, I think the president really need to talk about.
What about the content of areas?
Yeah.
Areas, the content area, that he specified, because you talk about everything: agriculture, petroleum, education.
Those are the bullet points I'm talking about. Every ministry, if you pick the bullet points in that area, the content of that bullet point is what he would be talking virtually. I mean, literally, he'll be standing there and talking to people.
But is he factual about?
That's what I just said. I don't know how true that is, because it's all written down for him to read.
Because he said agriculture, the products, corn, millet, groundnuts, the production should increase. Is that really so? I mean, like, what has that helped with the food shortage?
Exactly. So, and that's a very good question. If I want to say something increase, I want to be able to tell people, this is what it was, and here's where we are, and therefore, obviously, it's increased.
But he said that the demand has been increased. That's why we didn't feel those agricultural products.
Well, and that's where you're addressing the nation, right? If you, as a president, you're addressing the nation, you know the demand went up. Well, the question becomes then, what are you doing about it? Right?
No, the thing is, how can that even be so? Is it that we're having more people born in the Gambia, or because people are,
well,
from the Gambia?
In his defense, the demand is always going to be high. There's always demand for things and things like that. But I think that more of what I wanted to say is
the food demand is higher. That's why agricultural products cannot even make a dent.
Well, then the demand is there. It's always demand. I think the cost of living is what's high, and I think that's where he needs to get to. Cost of living. Address the nation with the cost of living.
Cost of living is different.
Cost of living is what should be part of the address of the nation. What are you going to do about it as the president? The infrastructure. When you talk about infrastructure, he talked about the healthcare part of it. He talked about schools being built. But what about our water and electricity supplies? Key things that we cannot go without. Those are things that need to be discussed as well.
But if the schools, if education is improving, how comes the West African examination performance, Gambia took at the bottom ladder of it? Because it came out. If you're doing well in education,
but I think we discussed it here. To build a school,
talked about that, and one of the things that said
is it the quality that is important or the quantity?
You must remember, the school is just the
The quality is more
You
important.
can
And we
build as
talked
many
about this
schools
here.
as possible, but if the quality of education is not
Yeah. And
what
I
is
said,
that?
you know, and I remember I said that we need the whole education system reform. There
Yeah.
should be a reform in there to be able to get a good quality education for our kids. You know, so these are things that the president need to talk about, and then also address the nation with, yes, we understand all the things that's been happening, all the millions of dollars or that's been missing. We tell the country what you're doing about it. Tell the country, what are you doing about the millions of dollars that are being, you know, embezzled in different
actually, that has never been mentioned in the whole.
Yeah, exactly. I don't hear things. That's why I said, you know, I didn't watch the whole thing, because when I saw him sitting down and reading from whatever pages that he's flipping, so to me that was something written for him to read. Whether it's true or not, he's just reading it. You know, so I don't know. So, and things
maybe those things are not even a conviction of him, that, you know, like those are things from his conviction of his own knowledge. So
exactly.
he's doing it to satisfy a specific area or a specific department.
Yeah, just covering the department. He's just covering the departments from department. But what is the key important thing for Gambia? Those are things that you put in the address, things that are important in Gambia. What is important in Gambia today? Well, we want to know about the healthcare. He said something about healthcare. We want to know about education, said something about education, how many schools were built, but how are they maintained? Do they have good teachers? Do we have a good curriculum? Do we have good education system?
Well, one thing,
how do we reform the education?
At his defense, one thing about the ambulance,
I heard that. Yes.
Yeah, that
is good. Yeah, we have to give him credit. You know, for ambulance coming, that's very important. As long as they're not personalized, as long as individuals are not holding those ambulances with them and doing what they want and misuse government fuel. When a lady a woman in labor cannot get to the hospital because there's no fuel in the ambulance because the driver misused the fuel. You know, as long as those don't happen, so there should be a control mechanism for all of this.
And then another thing that he mentioned about, you know, the external affairs or the external world is that he embraced the diplomacy, right? Diplomacy with the countries and then getting aids and so forth. But he didn't talk about the deportation issues that, you know, we are getting complaints about every day. You know, people are getting deported. What are the government responsibility? What are the negotiations that they are making with these European
countries? What are they doing?
So those are the areas that he need to address and say.
That's why I said,
my countrymen, you know, we are doing this. It's either our fault or it's not our fault, or this is the motive behind this for financial reason.
So, you see, that's why I said,
don't deflect from people's concern.
That's exactly what I said. The State of Union address, the State of Nation
I think
include what are current situations in the country. Those really need to be addressed.
I was looking when it comes to foreign affairs and stuff like that. I was looking to that a lot. And
I was also expecting. To say.
Talk about the diaspora.
I was also expecting to say, when he gets to something like that, I was also expecting to say, yes, there were diplomatic passport fraud in the country. We've caught them all, and people have been prosecuted, and this many people have been taken to jail. Set that example. All of those could be in that. You know, people already know what happened, right? And everything has been social media. So talk about it and tell the Gambian people, what are you doing about it? That's important.
And he slightly mentioned diaspora and then the Gambian GDP. I mean, that just at the surface, because I guess he's trying to shy away from giving diaspora the credit. But if you look at the Gambian, the whole Gambian GDP, I mean, diaspora contributed a lot to that.
Oh, big time.
So he needs to specify that and the importance of the diasporans and their impact, and then how can he use the talent from the diaspora?
And not only that, what should be added to that is the people in the diaspora. These are Gambian citizens that have every right. So in my administration, I'm going to do everything to make sure next election they vote.
So those are the things we expect.
Those are the things that need to be said.
But when you are afraid that when they vote, then they vote you out, then you will block it.
Well, at least it will be the right thing for the people. If they vote you out, that'll be the right thing for the people. And because you know what,
You will
you
not
gave them the
support
right
that.
to
When
vote,
you
and that's the
suspect
right
that
they
they are
honor.
going to vote you out, then you make sure that that is not possible. It's definitely.
Yeah, if you do your right thing, you shouldn't worry about being voted out.
So I
Anyway,
all I understood from this speech, Sam, is blaming everything on COVID, blaming everything on Ukraine war, blaming everything on things that are not under our control. I mean, I understand COVID had an impact. I understand Ukraine war had an impact. But at the same time, other countries are in the same situation, but they are fighting back, getting on track. So I think we should also be, that
so
direction.
anything universal is universal. There's nothing you can do. That's why, I always say, control what you can control. You can't control COVID-19. You can't control Ukraine war. What can you control in your own country? Do that. That's what we needed to do.
Corruption.
That's right.
If you control corruption, you cut the
corruption in your country.
You control
all these funds being taken out.
Yes.
Control government expenses.
And then your expenses.
Yeah, I said control government expenses.
Conscious about it.
Yeah, control those and save that money into the country so we can use it. Put it into something else.
But it looks like the president has really done some moves when it comes to safeguarding some money in terms of the private plane. I mean the public plane that he took. I mean the passenger planes. He was definitely. I mean he was applauded for that instead of taking a private jet to go. I don't know which country that was.
That will be a common sense for anyone that is in such a very poor country. You don't have anything. Your people don't have anything. I mean,
no, I'm just saying common sense. But I mean,
but use that.
He could have gone the other way, but he decided.
Well, he did that in the past, and everybody talked about it. And now he did the right thing. So we should commend him for doing the right thing.
Yeah,
that's what's expected. It's not above and beyond. It's an expectation.
Yeah, he deserves the medal for that. Yeah, I mean. He cannot do everything wrong, but I didn't just wanted to.
Yeah, but go ahead. You can go ahead, Alice.
Go ahead, Alice.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it was even very interesting to see that the president going to the house. That is such a big celebration.
As if it is as
something very special, so I just say, oh, Gambia, because that is something other presidents are doing it every day. They are there, they have their seat, because it's the most important house. That's where the most important things come out, not from the state house, but from there. And most of the presidents, they have place a special seat even in their houses. That's their second office, especially when it comes to very important topics. They are present, you understand? And they discuss. And after they also have a picture, and they know from the horse's mouth, not here with paper, written false also, as Sam said. Normally he should have been just have a summary and just talk like that, because he knows everything what's going on. I mean, a country is not that easy. It's right. You cannot be, because you can see from his speech that is how many topics. I mean, points. When it comes to agriculture, health, on. You cannot keep everything in your head, but there are certain things, as Sam said. If you were there by the discussion, then you can say something even without writing, or somebody writing for you. I understand your point, sir. And that is our problem. Because even to come to the house one day is a special day.
So you had power with the celebration, correct?
I mean, even the speech is a speech of celebration, if you just look at it, because it was done extra to make sure that we can celebrate, because we are bombarded with positive results. You understand? To make us feel good. It's okay. But it, as Sam said, whether that's the fact, it's another thing, because to write a summary for Barrow, things like that, that can any ministry do that. Those days, my brother-in-law, he died. That was Jawara's time. He used to write sometimes till in the night for certain ministers to make their speeches also. These are speeches sometimes they don't know, I mean, what is inside. It's normal, you know. But still, I should be in this topic that I don't need to read much. That's what Sam said, and which is very right. You know, you have to, ruling the country, you have to make sure that you have it in your hand. If somebody wakes you night and tell you what is going on in Minister of Health, you don't need to call anybody. You can tell him straight away. And that is it. That is the job. That's why people say ruling a country is not easy.
And that's
You know,
leadership.
I mean, yeah, that is leadership. It's not an easy task. You know, you need to have help. You need to talk with your ministers and so. But he has to be careful, because every minister will always try to show his best side. You understand? So everybody will try to show his best side. So that being the case, it can be very possible that he can have certain wrong information or wrong data. You understand? Especially when you hear the millions, according to the speech, the millions, then you will go to Gambia, you look at certain things, you say, then where is the money?
Exactly.
So something doesn't fit anyway. So that's why, Sam, I'll support you to make sure that these millions, not only saying it came from here, it came from here, it's for the use from that, to make sure the end result, and they explain a list from these millions, every bottle where it went to. You understand? I think that is what is more important for the Gambians than just calling the millions, where nobody sees where the millions are. Whether it's even true, you cannot say it because you don't see it physically. You know, because maybe some people they've got their share already. So they'll tell Barrow the millions. You know, he can read it for us, but the millions are doing other things which we'll not see.
Are the
Yeah.
reports? Are the
Yeah.
reports showing
So these
millions
are
going somewhere else?
that's it. So as I'll support him to make sure that he follows. I said it here the last time. Our problem is in control. We don't control. Even you're talking about here the cocaine and all these criminals. Where's the on control? Nobody cares. It will be just a topic of 2 weeks and hoping that the people forget the next years. And that is typical in Gambia. People forget very quickly.
Exactly.
They talk about it 2 weeks, and the criminals, they know that. They just keep these things filed and give it time. And know that in 5 years, nobody talk about it. And then the deal is gone. And that's why Gambians start to come back and say, even the president, every million, to make sure that he has a list where every cent is gone. And what
Yeah,
is being produced from this money, as Sam said, what is being built. You know, writing, saying, can be too much. But there is nothing better than the president seeing it. You understand? And know, okay, exactly, these millions, they were for this. And this thing is what the million, you know, can also make his estimation or another calculation. That is very important, so that we will know where the monies go. Why is the country still suffering? Because Gambia is very small for these lot of millions he was mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
when you go the other side, you don't see it. You think it's the poorest country still. So that means whether the millions are just words or written, and physically the Gambians don't see anything out of it, because somebody maybe deal with it and tell Barrow
yeah, so
everything is okay.
that is so true, because you know, he came and then also spoke about giving 3,000 a month to the alcalos. And he got a big applause for that. How many alcalos, how many villages and towns are in the Gambia? Anybody can just guess from the on top of your head?
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway,
It will
there
be more
are,
than it will be more than 200.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. When
Two
you
to
take that
300.
and say by 3,000, yeah.
3,000. So where is that money? I mean, like, I know it's a good initiative for alcalos to be paid. I mean, some money because they do some work, right? That's true. But he had a big applause for that. Maybe that was something that has never been done, or maybe it was spoken about. So maybe it's a political score point. But what I'm trying to say is that realistically, the whole entire speech is like a selling point of political selling point. If you study it properly, this is what my administration did. This is what my administration did. We're talking about something that is state of the union. Where are we? Where are we? What are our challenges? And how close are we to overcoming our challenges? I think that is I'm not saying that you shouldn't.
Yeah, that's why I said that's
I'm not saying
the whole
that
thing. The whole
you
thing.
shouldn't talk about achievements.
But you should
Okay?
understand. You
And
should understand.
everybody will talk about achievements, of course, but then say the challenges first. Where are we? Say where are we? Where we came from, the challenges, and what you have done about it so far. I think that is the fair way to do it. That way,
Yeah, but that is
that way
not
it's not about me.
that is no celebration. Mr. Sawane, what
It's
you're
not
saying
about
is no
me.
celebration.
Me
You should
saying,
understand this thing is for celebration. Even the text was for celebration. So you can only hear positive things, not negative things, as we are saying. So you have to understand the whole thing.
but
That's
that
why you have only the millions and the projects, whether they are true or not, being done somewhere, and the schools and houses.
not every speech, not every
It's
speech.
written. It's written for celebration.
Okay, but not every speech is supposed to be about getting political score point. We need to talk to our
Yeah, normally we have problems enough, so that is not important.
well, in this case, I mean, like, what I'm trying to drive at here is that now
The problems are too much that nobody talks about it. So you can only focus
that's
on
no,
something what can make the people happy.
yeah, the challenges need to be realistic, and then need to the numbers and the issues we have. We need to realistically speak about them, and then realistically find approaches that will work. Because otherwise, it's just gonna be empty talk. A no realistic plan or a vision.
Yep.
This is supposed to be a speech
Yeah.
of vision, about what our situations are.
Yep.
Yes, it's good to talk about what has been done so far, especially from your administration. But it's also good to know realistically what are the issues and where are we and how do we move from here to get them resolved.
Yeah, and that's why.
But Sawane, look, when Mr. Barrow said to every ministry, I need a report from you because I'm going to give a speech about your ministry. So, do you think, as Gambia and Gambian psychology, do you think any minister will take his secretary and say, look, write also the nonsense is what's going on here, and write also the corruption what's going here, and write also our failure in this and that and that and that project? It's just a question to you now. Do you think any minister will do that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said,
in my opinion, you addressing the country. Tell the country the truth. All right? Tell them the truth and tell them what you're going to do about it. So, yes, ministers are going to hide. Everything is in social media nowadays. So whatever you tell people or not, we already know that. So you better come with the truth and tell the Gambian people the truth, but then tell what you're going to do. That's how people are going to respect you. If I were a president, I will come out and tell the Gambian people the truth, but I'm also going to tell you what I'm going to do about that. Yes, so and so happened. Yes, it's okay to talk about his accomplishments It's okay.
Very
There's
good.
nothing wrong with that.
Very good.
Presidents do that. They talk about their accomplishments, but then you need to talk about the reality. What is the reality facing the country today? Talk about those realities. During President Bush's time here, Osama bin Laden was the key initiator of this 9/11 bombings in here. He talked about that. When Obama came in power, Obama followed through until they captured Osama bin Laden and killed him. When they killed him, he came out and said that. In his speech, he mentioned that there. Osama bin Laden is now dead. You see? So those are things that you can talk about, what you accomplish in your administration. But don't forget about, the current situations, the burning issues that are facing the country. And what are you going to do about it? If you're going to, for example, pay the alcalos, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good initiative to start that. But, if I were the president, I would say that my government is going to control expenses. This is what I'm going to do. Overseas travel are now going to be limited. We're going to cut the budget in half so I can pay the alcalos from there. See, but that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you cut your budget, you cut your expenses somewhere so you can use the same money. Otherwise, when you just say, I'm going to pay the alcalos, where is that money coming from? That's what people are going to ask.
Yeah, then what I mean? The money will be taken again from somewhere, another aid for another project.
That means the budget is not going to balance. But if you cut your expenses, where you can put that money in and make it a useful spending rather than wasteful spending. But at the same time, again, most importantly, corruption is the number one issue in the country. How do you address corruption? What are you doing about corruption?
Well, but some in this case, I am going to give him credit that since his last term, he signed this bill, and those people in the parliament were just playing with that thing, put it in their drawers and run away from the topic because nobody wanted to discuss about it.
Well,
but Barrow signed it already as the information we got. So now we have this new parliament. Let us see whether they'll also be active, because I used to say it's a hot cake.
It is a hot cake. So from a leadership standpoint, now
but Barrow signed that since last time.
Let's not remember, which is good. If he signed it, that's good. We can give him credit for signing it. Well, signing something, if a president signs something and it gets put under the rug or puts aside, that's a big issue for me.
And everybody knew that. We talked about it last time.
Need to be followed up to make sure we get the end result of it,
It's still there.
And one thing I want to say from what I noticed from that video, watching the video, the starting of the video, I saw the Speaker of the House, Fabakary Tombong telling one of the MPs to sit down. I think this is not primary school, and this is an elected member, someone that even has more power than you.
A little bit diplomacy,
elected by the people, and you were just nominated by the president, right? So there is a big difference there. He just can't. This is not his own. He needs to understand that he can't just tell somebody to sit down. Sit down and sit down and sit down. You don't. This is a professional environment.
Diplomacy, a little bit diplomacy.
It needs to be dealt with as such. You cannot just tell someone to sit down. I mean, this is not dictatorship, and we're not.
Maybe he thought that he's still living in Jammeh's era. Maybe.
Well, no, you can say something.
We're going to tell him those days ago.
You can say something, but with diplomacy,
Yeah, do it in a
and still the person can understand what you wish. The person can still understand what you wish.
Yeah, even though he was calling him honorable member, sit down, but you just don't tell somebody to sit down like that. He has a valid point.
Like a primary school.
Yeah, listen to him.
The question is,
and respond in a more positive way rather than tell him to sit down.
That's what would you have done? What would you have done?
Even provoke.
What would I have done if it's part of the agenda and this is something that's allowed? I would have acknowledged that. If it's not something that's not allowed and that could not be done there because it's not part of the agenda, it's not part of the session, then I would have said it in a nice way. I would have said, honorable member, I completely understand what you said.
Sit down, please.
And I appreciate what you just said. Unfortunately, it's not part of this session.
Please.
It's not designed to be that way. Say it in a more professional way. Let him understand.
With diplomacy,
rather than telling him to sit down, you know. So
like in the primary school,
no dictatorship in the Gambia anymore.
Yeah, I think they need to change that also in their lives because they are used to. But sometimes you cannot blame them because so how many years? Jammeh was over 20 years. So these people are they need to be changed to democracy.
Because the thing is the whole issue about that is recycling the same people.
He should not have been there in the first place. Yeah, that's it. He should not have been there. If I were the president, I would not have nominated him into that position. Definitely, there are more qualified people.
But if I told that was the agreement. You never know.
Well, then it was a bad agreement. If it wasn't an agreement, then it was a bad one.
People who are used to power like that, they come back.
It should not have happened.
They always saw that muscle, because we had even some elected officers in the past who came to our show, and when you want to stop them, they will be like, they will show you that who they are, but. Because that's the kind of life they're used to.
In this generation, we tell them, in this generation, in this 21st century, we tell them, we don't care who you are. We're going to tell you the truth. And the truth is what the people want to hear. That's it. So I don't care who you are. You're not above the law and you're not God. So I am not afraid of you.
Well, they were once seen as.
They were once God, so they are used to be God.
I have never looked at that way.
To be seen as God.
Correct. Yeah, I've never looked at anybody like that, and I will never look at anybody like you're above the law or you're God. No, that's not
how they're thinking.
Sam, you have to remember they were gods and they were seen as gods, and still they want to be seen as gods.
Yes, exactly.
Well, there's only one God. Right? We all know there's only one God, and that's the only one that I am afraid of, and not anybody else. Any human being, no, I am not afraid.
But normally you are right. When we talk about democracy and we are in a democratic state, thank God, you are right. But it's also a mentality.
But anyway, your final thoughts on this, guys.
Yeah. So final thought. At the end of the day, we need to, from the two topics that we talked about. Law enforcement need to really happen. Justice need to prevail for the people in prison. Our National Assembly need to hold our executive accountable to make sure that justice prevails, to make sure that they can question anything that happened in any department. Call the head of the department into National Assembly, put them in that hot seat, let them answer questions, and televise it live so Gambian people can see what exactly is happening. We want to hear from the horse's mouth. We don't want a minister to come to represent the president or somebody else. We want to hear the horse's mouth. And at the end of the day, also, I think it's very, very, very important when something serious happening in a country, just like what we see in other countries, the president comes in and do a press release. I mean, a press briefing, like a media briefing with the media. Invite them. Be prepared to answer questions. That is the time for the media to ask questions for the president to answer, just like we see. President need to be knowledgeable. He said he's the most informed Gambian in the country. And if that is true, then he has a lot of information. They need to feed him with a lot of information, all of the information.
But is the information sinking or not?
Well, we will find that out if we can get the media to interview him and have a media relation where anything that happened, anything that comes out in social media. In fact, that's what leaders do. If you don't want speculations to go out, you don't want a lot of rumors to be out, you don't want everybody in the social media talking about it, come out first. Be the first to come out.
I used to say that since the beginning. The beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning.
It's the best thing because when everybody hears it, there will be no discussion.
Exactly.
Because they'll all say he said.
They say when they do a press conference, immediately something happened, do a press conference and let the media allow the media to ask those questions. So of course, do your briefing and do your conference first, then do an open session where you can take, even if it's 10 questions, take 10 questions from the media, and that will cover the doubt of a lot of people and what you're going to do about those issues. Then the whole social media will be quiet, because now a lot of questions have been asked and the president has answered a lot of questions. And let's not allow something to happen somewhere and then call someone else, another minister, to come and tell the people what happened. And some of those times they're giving us the false information, which we really don't need, because we know the truth. The government people are very smart. They know the truth. So no minister can.
They're smart when they want to be smart.
Well,
Right.
they are smart. They are really
No,
smart.
Gambians are general smart.
You know,
when you give them the
everybody's just
chance,
playing their own card, but they are smart. So, so really do things like that to eliminate the speculations and the rumors going around. So at the end of the day, I think the president's speech also, like I said, all the things that I said here, it can be better. It can be better. We'll thank him for what he did right. And there is definitely room for improvement and areas of opportunities for him in his ministry. If they can get together on a monthly basis and talk about and do different briefing and know what is happening in every ministry, they may be doing that behind the scene, but it doesn't appear that is happening by him sitting down and reading everything on paper instead of knowing all of it right here. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
All right, Alice, your final words.
Yeah, as Sam said, when we talk about the youths, to make sure that let them just go to Manitou and look, or to see where some people did just a small crime, then either they meet the judge or they try to free them, instead of wasting their time. And at the end of the day, they'll be even free. So this time, I think it's a missing time in their life, so that they can use it, productively for themselves and for the national development. Because as a poor country developing, we need every hand, every contribution from every person, even if it is 1 hour. We have to respect that. So we cannot just keep the people there when you say that you need every hand in national development. So when we come to the president's speech, when I just look at everything, it's okay. As Sam said, they are trying anyway. Barrow is trying. I think he's having the spirit to bring Gambia forward. Just that there are certain things to adjust and screw and things like that. My advice is always, what can help him is every donor or money that comes in to follow that up. He can just write it down, send it to the ministry, but he should make sure that at the end of the day, he takes his paper out again and say, okay, I need a list from this amount what came to your ministry and your spendings. So every minister should be doing that, and Barrow himself will be looking to see that whether this money is definitely used for that purpose. I think that is very important. That will help us. When he's doing that, he's helping himself, helping the Gambians also. This end control, and not only in one sector, but all sectors. Because you cannot take, that's even dangerous. We cannot be taking debt, the money come inside, and no end control. That means you are taking something which you have to pay back, but when somebody asks you, you don't even know where the money is. So just to control, whether it's debt or donor or anything, the ministry get this sum, you write it down and date, let him sign. At the end of the day, let them come and show you. Not false receipt, because this is normal. They manipulate all those things today. Yeah, you give them 20 million, they go and buy a machine of 10 million, ask that person to give them a receipt of 20 million or 25 even, because they are going to share the rest also. I think Barrow should know that he was a businessman, but he's to still open the eyes. These things are there. They can manipulate any receipt. But when you take your car, go around and see whether even this thing is there, not only in paper. Because if I even have it on paper and physically you cannot see it, it's not existing.
No,
You know, to be vigilant. That is going to help him, his projects, and the Gambian people too.
thank
That's
you.
my advice.
Thank you.
Was
Thank you.
there anything on OIC?
I think that's another topic, not today.
Yeah, I mean, he briefly mentioned that, I think he briefly mentioned that, you know, like the projects are going the way it's supposed to, not in depth. But what
When is
I,
the OIC
Very good.
convention?
yeah, that was not stated clearly. That was not specifically stated
Okay.
the way we would have liked it, or
Okay.
you know, you guys would have want to hear. But what I noticed is throughout the speech, and I listened to most of it, he didn't talk about, you know, bringing the country together. If you look at Barack Obama's speech and other speech, you know, Biden, one of the key things is we are divided. Everybody accepts division is everywhere. So I was listening to that to come to a point where we say that we went through elections, people are bitter about the election result outcome. So this is the time we see Gambia as one. Let's put our difference together. Let's work. Let's reach out across the aisle. In the National Assembly, let's work in unity instead of being partisan to get our agendas crossed. So this is what leadership is. You cannot.
Yeah, but maybe he was having more important topics than that.
No. This is more
I
important.
mean, it's important. It's important. But because I even see some from the opposition. They are there. They are invited.
Yeah, but the
I could
point
see
is,
them. I could see them. I could see
them.
them. So that means he's liberal in this
No,
area.
no, you don't
I
understand.
see some opposition.
No,
I don't know whether I should name them, but
No.
I could see them. They were invited. They are sitting there in the
No, I'm not saying that the
celebration.
opposition are not
Yeah,
there. What I'm
what
trying to
Tony
say,
is saying is bringing people together.
yeah, it's a
you know,
message.
and
If
uniting
you
I
look
them.
know this message. I mean, maybe
That,
he was concentrating more on what is written there.
yeah.
And when that person don't write it there, then you cannot expect
exactly.
any
That's
to
why.
come.
That's
No, it's
why.
not their
That's
plan.
why sometimes this has to be your own
Yep.
ideas.
Yep.
Because you as a leader, you are selling hope. You are want to touch everybody, not by, you know, number stacks. No, sometimes you gotta tell stories. As a speaker, you gotta connect with the public. Just like Sam was saying, the delivery, the styling, the and eye contact, the gestures.
Free talking.
You cannot be able to do that effectively if you are reading from the book, or from a written speech. So your natural, you know, feelings, you cannot put that in there because somebody wrote it that way. So what I'm saying is that I don't know if this particular area was mentioned, but it's very important to have at least 5 minutes or 3 minutes on national unity, because without it,
You are right. I understand you. I just wanted to talk
exactly.
more.
Yeah.
But when the person who was writing that was not thinking about what you say,
and then he also
writing.
he also didn't go in depth on another part, which is defense. I mean, sorry, security. Without unity and security, a nation will fail, because all these crimes that we're talking about, people are dying more often, getting killed. You know, he is not assuring Gambian people that they are secured. Stealing, you know, robbery, guns. So if you look at the US, their first problem they tackle is security.
Yeah.
Second, they fight to bring people together. So in this national address, these are some of the things that you can assure the citizens. It's not about your stacks, numbers. It's not about what you have achieved. It's about assuring people at the national stage what it is that their situations are, assuring the farmers that they're gonna get their crops sold, assuring the people in the medical in the hospitals, that there is help on the way. So this is the way a president supposed to reach out. All the other things are just, part of the body, but the key ingredients are this. But I think that was not, it might probably was mentioned on the surface, but not in depth. So, but that's what I observed. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sane. I think you should have taken this speech for Barrow. I think then they understand you better.
maybe next time I can work with us. I mean, with his speech,
And help him.
and
Help
then
him.
we kind of make it in a way that people will buy into his speech.
But I understand you. I mean, you missed that. And maybe many Gambians, you never know, because many were concentrating. If you just look at the speech, it's a celebration speech. So what are you going to expect? You can only see nice things and sign things so that you feel good. But everybody knows, especially I find it interesting, wrapping the productivity from the agriculture and the population of the Gambia. It's normal, because if one cup was enough and you have a family of 10, it's definite that the one cup is nonsense. so the agricultural products should be more, because Gambians are getting more every day. The population is growing, so you cannot expect the one bag rice from the Minister of Agriculture will be enough for the 2 million people today. It's definite. But the person who wrote that, right, my observation, he quoted very nice, so you can do that too. It should look nice, everything, because it's celebratory. So you have to understand it. But let us hope for the best. Thank you very much. And
thank you guys for
Thank
this.
you all.
take
Thank
care.
you all. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
America. Yeah.
Take care, Sam. Take care.